leverage the principles of normal marketing. Think about who you're positioned at. Think about how you want to differentiate your product. Think about what your goals and objectives are from a business, and then say, well, can we use these digital marketing tools to help us with that? And not necessarily just get rid of the old one because something new comes in.
You're listening to episode 169 of the Fitness Business Podcast. We'd like to thank this month's premier podcast partner, Precor, delivering industry-leading cardio, strength, functional training products and service to over 90 countries across the world. Welcome along to a big show, one that I am super excited to share with you all, and that's because our special guest this week is Alan Leach, and he is our first guest we've ever had from Ireland. Alan is the Group General Manager and Director of Sales and Marketing at Westwood Clubs in Dublin, Ireland. He's also a sales trainer and an international speaker and presenter on fitness club sales and marketing. In 2017, Alan was voted onto the IHRSA Board of Directors, and recently I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to interview him at IHRSA in San Diego. There is so much gold in this episode, and we cover a lot of information in just 25 minutes. So here's a quick breakdown of what we discuss. We chat about tools for digital marketing. I ask Alan how much a club owner should spend annually on their online campaigns, and he shares 3 secrets to powerful and profitable digital marketing. Before we move into the interview, I do want to thank this month's premier podcast partner, Precor. Precor provides a total solutions approach to fitness. With new equipment, smart product innovations, and new finishes and upholstery options, to the best-in-class group training and networked fitness solutions, they have a solution for everyone. To learn more, just head to www.precor.com/fitness business podcast, and that link is also in our show notes. Alan, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Chantel. It's lovely to be back again.
Now, this is a bit of a special interview because, of course, we are recording live from IHRSA 2018, and you have literally just stepped off the stage from speaking this afternoon. What topic did you present on today?
Digital marketing, Chantel. It was all just digital marketing for a full 60 minutes and then another 25 minutes of questions and answers afterwards.
And I'm about to give you another 20 minutes of questions, and hopefully you can share the answers with me. So when it comes to tools that fitness business owners and managers need to use for digital marketing, what recommendations would you have for them?
You know, over the years, digital marketing has kind of changed. One of the things I discussed today was, you know, when one looks at digital marketing from the perspective of a health club, my attitude has always been is it needs to be profitable. It obviously needs for us to get leads. And if you keep it very simple and say it's the best lead generation tool that you can have, it's very easy to measure then the impact of your digital marketing campaign. So for us, it's about, you know, generating leads, and we get so many leads we can't even deal with them. So the tools we would tend to use, and I was discussing this at the conference today, is, you know, you obviously have Google and you have Facebook and other social media channels. I focus today tended to be on Facebook and Google because what's interesting, one of the things I shared today is $1 in every $4 globally on all advertising, that's radio advertising, TV advertising, digital advertising, $1 in every $4 today is going to those 2 companies. And most people were alarmed with that, but it's $1 in every $4. And it's incredible to think that, you know, advertising is nearly being taken up by 2 companies. So they're the ones that I would tend to use as far as getting, you know, out there to your target market. With Google, it's very much search engine optimization, a huge input and a huge drive on SEO, and it's tough. And then Google AdWords. I do say to people, look, one thing about, you know, SEO and everything else is you've got to have good content, you've got to have good website, and people talk about blogs. And one of the things I did discuss with them today when they're choosing between SEO and AdWords, if they have to choose, is that when you get involved in SEO, what people sometimes don't realize is there's a huge amount of work and effort that goes into that. I mean, you work on media, Chantel, you would know, but, you know, when you tell people that if you get into a blog, that the average time to write a blog post can be 3 or 4 hours, and you say you're running a gym and you're putting on classes and you're managing staff and you're trying to make money, not everybody has that time, and that's why sometimes it goes astray. But definitely they can do a lot for SEO. We generated our clubs in Dublin about 1,100 leads every single month through SEO. And then we do about another, I think it's 300 through AdWords. So about 84% of our leads are coming through SEO. So we do put a lot of time and effort into that. Then we do obviously the AdWords as well. We are about to invest hugely in Facebook advertising. I've made the prediction, and it's funny, when I spoke today, and there was 2 or 3 people there who are heavily involved in digital marketing, and I asked who thinks that Facebook advertising is going to bypass Google AdWords, and those same people said, yeah, and I can see it happening. I mean, the great thing about Facebook advertising is, as a tool, is that, nothing allows you to target the market the way Facebook advertising is. Nothing has the targeting capabilities that Facebook has. I don't even look at it anymore as a social media channel. I really, when my staff do it, we're not selling a ton of memberships because someone put a post up about a dog that ran through the gym and it was funny and let's make a video. It's nice and, it keeps us engaged with the members, but to me anyway, it's not generating any business. The way I see social media is Facebook have a huge database of people, have their likes, their dislikes, their age profiles, their demographics. Us as a company, and I would say this to any fitness club, can say, look, if you want to target people with 10 or 15 minute radius, you want to target women, men, a specific age group, a specific wage category, people with specific likes, you can do that with Facebook advertising. So that's where I see, where it been in the past, it is now going forward. I see that as an amazing tool for fitness clubs. One thing that I do advise people is, and I said it today, was Facebook advertising is certainly not the most expensive. The reason it's not the most expensive is that Facebook advertising is a self-service advertising model. I mean, try and ring Facebook and tell them you don't have to switch something on. So as far as the marketing tools, definitely search engine optimization and all the things that go with it, content management, obviously inbound marketing, and then actual paid for advertising in Google. And the same with Facebook, is going into Facebook and not so much focusing on the social side of it, but looking at Facebook and say, use that to get into people's feeds. Because one of the things with Facebook for us is, up until LinkedIn started to do the same thing, Facebook were the only company that allowed full screen advertising on their mobile device. Facebook thing. Mm-hmm. Nobody else, not even Google, do that. Mm-hmm. So that's where I see it happening, yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned about how specific you can get with the targeting on Facebook advertising. Are you talking about utilising things like the pixel and lookalike audiences?
Absolutely. The lookalike audience is a big thing for us because, well, it's funny, we start with the customised audiences. One of the things that's happening in Europe is, and this is an interesting one, we have a thing coming out called the GDPR, it's a General Data Protection Regulation. This is the biggest thing to happen, data protection, in Europe for the last 70 years. And it changes everything. An example would be this, Chantel. We're very much into direct marketing. We do a lot of direct mail. We do a lot of SMS marketing, email marketing. Hugely profitable for us. We can do a direct mail campaign that will generate 3.2 million in revenue. And so we do direct mail. We follow that up with SMS marketing if there was a campaign running over a month. So we've built that database up of 250,000 leads. So these would be past members. These would be people who inquired with us. So they're in our database, and we're really, really heavily focused on that database management. What this GDPR thing does is, and it's still up in the air, and I mean, I've written an article on it, and obviously legal people will fight over what the meaning is, but it changes the landscape terribly because everything's going to be opt-in, and there could be a case that those databases now become redundant, that you can no longer target them. So we are looking at the lookalike audience and everything else and saying, we can now put that list into Facebook, create a customized audience, target them through Facebook to re-up back in, and then the lookalike audience. But the technology now with marketing with Facebook is just unbelievable. I mean, there's, retargeting, there's pixels, there's everything. I kind of make the joke when I ask people is that, ever see when you went to a website and you looked at something and they chase you for the next 10 years and 4 weeks after you're dead? So yes, I just think it's an incredible tool for fitness clubs. The only thing with fitness clubs I do say to them is, if you don't have some sort of a lead generation strategy and a lead nurturing program to go with that, well, all you're really doing is getting names into a database. So people will start to look at things like Salesforce and HubSpot to manage that for them, yeah.
Excellent. And I might just take this opportunity to remind everyone that we're not going to go into detail today about how to create a custom audience or a lookalike audience. However, if you refer back to the show that we released in March of 2018 that featured Amanda Bond, you can go and have a listen to that show because we do dive into detail about using the pixel and doing Facebook retargeting and lookalike audiences in that show. So check it out, and I'll put the show in today's show notes. Now, Alan, you've been quoted as saying social media is the devil's playground for amateur marketers. Can you explain what you mean by that?
That was a quote I put out, I think I was speaking in London at the time. And it's funny, it kind of resonated with a lot of people because it resonated with Justin as well, that it kind of summed up the way people were approaching social media. But I have an academic background in marketing, so when I explain to people, I say, look, generally in marketing, for many years in marketing departments, the marketing department looked at lots of things: how a product should be positioned in the market, what that product should be, whether it should be black or white or in a box or whatever, what pricing they should be put in that product, and how that product should be promoted. And of course, what's happened is it went from that in some companies, particularly the fitness industry, whereas the phrase I use, marketing, has degenerated into a 1P function where it's now just promotion, and there's this confusion. Well, it's just advertising and promotion and sales. And I said, so anybody can do it. What's happened with social media, it's nearly got worse. In that, if you think about it, one of the advantages of social media, anybody can use it. One of the disadvantages of social media is that anybody can use it. And if you think about using Facebook just as one social media channel, all you really need is to be able to put a picture up, add some words, and press an enter key. And that goes out. The problem with that, where's the strategy? Where's the positioning? Where's the branding? Where's the differentiation? And we know a lot of times it's handed to you in turn. So even in our company, we've had to stop it because with all good intention, people were putting stuff up, but there was no kind of thought, does that damage the brand? Whereas if you an example would be is in the time of a brochure. Somebody sat down and thought through the strategy and the creative side of it and came up with photographs and pictures, and everybody looked at it and it was checked over before it went to print. Now, obviously the great thing about social media, you can get outside a lot quicker. The problem is who's doing that type of advertising is people messing with the brands. And I think that's the whole point. You don't need to be a professional to do it. You could just churn out what you like. And I probably get shot for just saying this on a live thing, but they can also churn out crap. That's the problem. But anybody can do it. It's a little bit like an example is I'm a terrible designer. I cannot match two colors. If you give me Photoshop, I'm going to come up with something terrible. I'm no good at it. I'm not an artist, and we have full-time graphic designer work for us. And I always say that I'm no good at it. And the same way is when you give people social media, they can just do what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. In there, you mentioned the word strategy a couple of times, and I honestly think that most of us who own a club or have managed a club at some stage have done the post that you're talking about, where we kind of just randomly post something without too much thought about what the bigger picture is. So when it comes to developing a social media strategy, is that something that you recommend that we would have, say, a 1-year plan for our social media? What's your approach and recommendation on a social media strategy?
Absolutely, 100%. And I think the reason it's more important in social media is because it's one of those things that goes ahead without a strategy. If it was direct marketing, like a direct mail campaign, it's simply not going to go ahead without someone, because someone's got to spend money on it. If it's hiring a sales team, there's going to be a thought goes into it. The thing with social media, there should be a strategy. And that strategy should fit in with the business goals of the company. I think what one needs to do with social media is also manage expectations. If the people that are going to be using the channel as opposed to, you say, look, we're not looking for you to conquer the world. We're not looking for 1,000 members. We're not going to get it from that post that you put up about the dog running through. But at the same time, we need to say, look, this is the market we go after. This is what we represent in the market, whether it's the bodybuilding scene or the deconditioned market or the female market or the premium end, that they understand that. And then say also, look, so this is the market we're going after. These are the type of visuals that we want going up. This is the type of content that we want. And again, you're in media, there would be kind of certain guidelines about grammar, whatever. You don't want to be over the top, but you're saying this is the image we're trying to portray, and that the right stuff goes out. I'll give you an example how it can't be wrong. I've seen on our own social media channel, because everybody's doing it, we're talking about fuzzy photographs that are out of focus going on social media, and you're kind of going, in a nice way, you're saying to staff, did you even look at the picture on the camera before you posted? It's out of focus. So even what we've done at our clubs is sit down with staff that are doing social media and say, look, here's how to take a photograph. I wouldn't have known to say, look, don't have the roof in, don't have the ground in, make sure it's in focus, make sure you have people looking at the camera. Another thing is, from strategy point of view, and it happens on our social media, is saying to the people to post, it's not all about you. I mean, why are we seeing so many posts of instructors on stages? Why are we seeing so many of instructors doing this? Where's the member in all this? So I truly believe, sit down with people and say, look, here's how we want to be positioned in the market. Here's our goals over the next 12 months, whatever it is, and say from a global level, here's what we're trying to do. We use sales to do this. We use digital marketing to do this. Social media will be part of that. If you are going to give them autonomy, but at the same time, there should be guidelines about what goes up. You don't want to restrict them too much because you want a bit of fun in it. There should be a strategy in it, absolutely.
I don't even know if there's an answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. How much should a club owner spend on digital marketing annually?
It's a very, very important question, and this might help answer the question. I remember when we had made the decision to go with Google AdWords, and there was a decision, yes, we'll run with it. And it came to budget. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I picked that budget out of the sky because I would normally be good at budgeting, but you simply don't know. My advice to anybody is decide. I'll give you some guidelines in the budget. For us, I'll give you an example. We spend about $90,000 a year on Google AdWords. We're about to increase that to about $180,000. Now that's for 6 clubs, because I believe, with those sort of campaigns, you can measure what's coming in. The most important thing is whatever budget you throw at it, you've got to say very specifically, measure the results. And then you could make a decision about, is this worth it? Do we do it again? Are we really getting the return on it? Because if you're doing AdWords, for example, because a lot of people would notice, and you suddenly find that each lead is costing you $80 or $90, and you go, membership is only $200, you kind of go, yes. And you can see sometimes that people have spent money in AdWords and they said, well, we're getting a lead, because people don't know. When you say an average lead is $70, couldn't be. I said it is. That's just a lead. Now, you've got to get them to come to your club and you've got to convert to a member. That could suddenly eat into $500 or $600 per member. As far as what I would say to people is, there's no point in turning around and doing a €40 campaign once a month. That's pointless. It's just pointless. It's like anything else. If you are going to commit to something, commit to it. We're also going to throw, and again, if I'm being perfectly honest, the figures being picked out of the sky as a way of seeing what happens. We will be throwing about 70,000 at Facebook advertising. Wow. Now we will run them in conjunction, measure the progress, and see which is giving us the best results. But it is difficult to say to people what you should spend on it. I often say to people, if you're a budget club, you may be in a position you simply cannot spend on those channels. I mean, we're charging average lifetime value of a cancelled membership is about $2,500. So we can say it's okay to spend that level of money. But if you're a budget club at $15 a month, AdWords simply may not be, even Facebook advertising may not be the channel for you, because you could end up paying more than you get from the membership. But whatever budget they set, the most important thing is from day one is have in place structures to measure performance and measure what's happening, and be perfectly honest with it, because sometimes when you do something for a year and you suddenly go, that's not really getting us to return, to let it go. Or you can look at what would make it better website, better calls to actions, better conversions. Like, I'll just throw this in for the sake of, because we're on it. I regularly get asked, what's the secret to a profitable digital marketing campaign? And in my particularly last 10 years dealing in digital, I said the real secret of making money from digital marketing in the fitness industry have a sales team that can sell membership to those leads you get with digital marketing, because otherwise you're just getting leads, particularly in the high end. If you're in the high end and you can afford to pay for it, but other than that, budgets, it is a difficult one. One thing I do say is this, with regard to us, is we have a budget. Even though we're in digital marketing and Facebook marketing, we still only spend about $35 to get a member, which is way below the industry. In the US, it's $118 to get a member. We're still only spending $35. So when we set budgets how much are we prepared to spend to get a member, and what percentage of turnover do we spend on membership. So we're still only at about 2.4%. So we can play around on that. So if I was advising clubs out there, what I would say, Chantel, is before you touch digital, how much do you want to spend to recruit a member? How much do you think you want to spend as a percentage of turnover? And then make a decision whether you want to divide those up as, obviously conventional marketing or digital marketing, whatever.
I absolutely love that advice, Alan. Thank you so much. Now, we've obviously touched on quite a lot in a short period of time, and a number of times you've mentioned AdWords, Google, Facebook. We mentioned Instagram just very briefly. If you had to give club owners just 3 key takeaways from everything that we've discussed today when it comes to really progressing or moving forward with their digital marketing campaign or their digital marketing activity, what would those 3 key points be?
Again, if I was to think strategically about the 3 points, because look, when this is over, they can go over and choose which ones they want to use. My number 1 would be, if you're in the mid-price or premium price, make sure that you have a sales team that can sell to those leads that you get. If you're a club that operates around the 700 or 800 member mark at a budget end, that's simply not possible to have full-time sales teams. If you're in the 4,000 or 5,000 member range, well, then you can have full-time salespeople. For us, the big thing is it's salespeople that make the money from the digital marketing. The digital marketing, I'll give a quote by David Ogilvy in his great book. Yeah. 99% of all advertising sells nothing to anybody. In digital marketing, it's probably 99.9% of it sells nothing to anybody. But that 1% or that half of 1% of those that do react to your leads can be converted into money if you have a sales system. The second one, and I would say, is anybody in digital marketing, is leverage the principles of normal marketing. Think about who you're positioned at. Think about how you want to differentiate your product. Think about what your goals and objectives are from a business, and then say, well, can we use these digital marketing tools to help us with that? And not necessarily just get rid of the old one because something new comes in. And then the third one, and most important, is have everything directly into your database, because there's 3 types of traffic that you can use to grow your business. There's the traffic that you don't own, that you can control, which is you pay Facebook to go to this market, or AdWords to go to this section of the market. There's the traffic that you simply don't control, that just happens to come along. And then it's the traffic that you own. That's your traffic, and that's in your database. And if they're in your database, whether it's 10,000 or 100,000, you do not need Google's permission or Facebook's permission or anybody's permission, unless the law stops it, to target those people with SMS, email marketing. So the most profitable one is have everything drive into your own database. So just look at these tools as just ways of building the database that you have internally in your company to target in whatever way you want to.
Alan, this has been such a valuable 20 minutes that we've spent together today. So before we finish off, I just want to say, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I'll give you my email.
Email's the best way?
And it's alan.leach, Leach, at Westwood, WESTWOOD.ie. So alan.leach at westwood.ie. And obviously they can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other social media sites. And needless to say, I will make sure that we pop your contact details in the show notes. So thank you so much. I have loved talking to you about this topic, and thank you for joining me today. Thank you, Chantel. I'm a huge fan of your podcast. Huge fan. And you've got a huge following in Ireland as well, which is great. Everybody's
I love hearing that. I love hearing that. Well, let's hope we can grow that following even further after today's show.
Absolutely.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, One Fit Stop, for their support, and we highly recommend all fitness professionals go to onefitstop.com to find out how their software will enable you to take control of day-to-day management in your fitness business. One Fit Stop's scheduling, client management, programming, and payment collection tools will set your business up for success.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
I'm chatting today to Pam O'Donnell, the Vice President of Member Experience and Development at IHRSA. Pam, it is so lovely to have you back on the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Chantal. I always enjoy it when we get a chance to chat.
I can't quite believe this is year 3 of us catching up to chat about the IHRSA Institute. Just reminds me that we're 3 years into the show. But of course, the IHRSA Institute's been going for a lot longer than that. Tell us about the 2018 event.
Well, I've probably said this before, but the Institute is just one of my favorite things that we do at IHRSA. What really makes this event unique is that it incorporates a lot of opportunities for the attendees to interact with each other and also with the faculty. We have an opening network event, the classes, the roundtables, workouts, and we also do this really fun thing called the logo swap each year. And those are just some of the ways that strong relationships really develop over the course of the week. And attendees go home with new friends, but they also have people they can turn to for advice when they need it down the line. And the courses are really a deeper dive into the subjects than you get at a typical conference. And really, we try to hit all the major areas of club management.
You know, Pam, it's interesting because the talk around IHRSA Institute 2017 was just phenomenal. Like the feedback that people were saying about that those people that attended was just so positive about the experience that they had there. And I tend to agree with you. I mean, I haven't personally been, but I'm always hearing just amazing stories coming out from the IHRSA Institute. And one of the things that people talk about, of course, is the faculty and the people that you have speaking. So do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the speakers in 2018?
Absolutely. We're going to have to work on getting you to the Institute so you can experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
But we start with Brent Darden and Allison Flatley. They'll present strategic planning from different perspectives. One of the things that we do is Jaya Blondie from IHRSA covers industry trends, research, and benchmarking. And what's cool about that class is that we have Bill McBride come in, and he gives us insights from an operator's perspective, really kind of digging into what the research means and how it can be applied. And then Bill is a master, as I'm sure your listeners know, at sales management. So he also speaks on that topic. And then another person your listeners will really know is Rick Caro. He's actually spoken at every one of the IHRSA Institutes on financial management. But even with that being the case, I learn something new from him every year. We also have Mark Miller speaking on non-dues revenue, Jared Cogswell talking about personal and group training management. And one of the courses that always gets a lot of interaction and questions is our day-to-day legal issues. And Helen Durkin, our Executive VP of Public Policy, handles that. And, you know, there's really interesting situations that come up from all over the world. And Helen does a really great job of presenting the issues and discussing the best way to handle them. Other people are Alan Leach from Ireland. He covers marketing strategies and also social media and digital strategies. And of course, we all know a critical component of success is your staff. So Michelle Melkerson Granrid will focus on employee hiring, training, and development. And then last but not least, on the industry side, we have Chris Stevenson, and he'll cover member retention, experience, and engagement. And then he'll also do a final session on planning for the future so that attendees go home with a game plan for implementing what they've learned. And then another thing is what's great about holding the program at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is we also get to take advantage of some of the amazing business faculty there. So Al Seegers, who spoke for us last year on innovation, is going to return this year with Analytics Gone Wild. And Dr. B he'll take service a step further with creating and executing great customer experiences. And I'll tell you, I made the mistake of trying to pronounce his full year when he spoke for us a few years ago. And it's a mouthful, and that's why his students and him just go by Dr. B. So, we're all familiar with boot camps. I kind of think of the Institute as being a management boot camp for health club operators.
That is such a good way to describe it. So, Pam, tell us just a little bit more about where the event is held.
Well, we have the Institute every year at the Rizzo Center at UNC's Keenan Flagner Business School. And it's this really nice set of 3 buildings that we go between. And one houses the classrooms, and it's stocked with healthy snacks throughout the day. And I must say the breakfast pizza and the smoothies are awesome. Some of the staff are kind of partial to the peanut M&Ms, but there's lots to take advantage of there. The meals take place in this beautiful old plantation home, and the hotel is just fantastic with everything from a laundry room to stocked refrigerators with drinks and snacks, and even Ben & Jerry's ice cream if you have a late night craving. And if you want to work off any of those calories, there's lots of opportunities to work out. There's a fitness center in the building. There's a lap pool. And we also have a different workout each morning led by one of the faculty. And of course, for those that want to keep the networking going, there's a sports bar at the hotel. And this place is amazing. The service always receives rave reviews from the attendees. And when you hear that from IHRSA members who are in the service business themselves, you just know it's exceptional.
Pam, this all sounds absolutely phenomenal. So tell us, who should be attending the IHRSA Institute?
The truth is, it's anyone who wants to sharpen their skills around best practices to run fitness clubs. Last year, we had a member who had been in the business for 42 years tell us the event had already paid for itself after the first day, and her only regret was that she hadn't done it sooner. And on a similar note, IHRSA's incoming chair, Jim Worthington, has attended several of the past few years and jokes about going home with pages of ideas to implement. And he also sends 4 or 5 of his senior managers and rising stars each year. So really, we have new developers, department heads, regional managers, and GMs, and they've all shared stories about how they took the tools and the knowledge they've gained and they put it into action, not only when they return home, but also months and years later. And attendees really come from all over the states and all over the world.
So Pam, tell us, how do we go about registering for the IHRSA Institute?
The registration includes the education courses, program materials, and over $800 worth of IHRSA research, publications, hotel with all the amenities, all the great meals and snacks I mentioned, and the networking events. And if people register by 15th of June, they'll get the best rates. And they can just go to IHRSA.org/institute-register. And if anyone has any questions, they can call me at that number or email me at pod@IHRSA.org.
And give us one more reminder, what are the dates of the Institute this year?
The dates are July 31st through August 3rd.
Okay, and we need to register before June 15th to take advantage of that offer.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, Pam, I want to thank you so much. It honestly sounds like such an amazing event once again this year. So thank you for coming on and giving us an update. I'm excited. I hope that everyone takes advantage and gets involved in this year's IHRSA Institute. We will put all of the details in today's show notes. Pam, thank you so much for chatting to me today.
Oh, thanks, Chantal. I really appreciate the chance to share some more about the Institute.
Precore Quickfire 5.
This week's Precore Quickfire 5 guest is the Vice President of Marketing and PR for Active Wellness, Carrie Bedgood. Carrie, welcome along. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
We're going to start off today with your Precore Quickfire 5 questions. And can you start by telling everyone, why do you do what you do?
Sure. Yeah. I learned early in life that life is short, but that it's also a gift. So I wholeheartedly believe in what we do, which is active, and we build, healthier communities so all have the joy of living life to its absolute fullest. I'm also an avid fitness and all-around self-care enthusiast. So what better job than, one that allows me to connect with awesome people and allows me to also pursue my personal passions.
And tell everyone what's one ritual rather that helps you become better at what you do?
Aside from daily workouts, I just implemented a new app called Insight Timer. It's kind of like Spotify for meditation, and depending on what I'm needing and how much time I have, I can take a few minutes for myself and then carry on with my day with more clarity and focus.
Oh, I like that. Insight Timer. Is that one?
It is.
Oh, nice. I'll grab the link for the show notes for that. And what's an app or a system that you use to stay in control of your workload?
We are a growing organization in Active, so I don't think that there's any control over my workload. But, I can't live without G Suite, which is Google. Much of Active works remotely all over the country, so we work on the cloud with shared files and folders and calendars, video, text chat. We're basically accessible anywhere and on any device.
Nice one. And what's one book, podcast, or blog that you would recommend, and why?
Of course, I recommend the Fitness Business Podcast.
Yes, that's the best answer.
Absolutely, as well as the Active Wellness blog. But I'm a fairly regular reader of Well and Good, Leadership Freak, Digital Marketer, and the HubSpot blogs. I also love Instagram to not only connect and share, but more so use it as a learning tool. I follow aspirational leaders, companies, and friends, which definitely helps me spot new trends and even often inspires creative thinking.
That's a great one. We haven't had anyone say that before. And as a massive Instagram fan myself, I have to concur. There's a lot of great stuff on there. And Carrie, tell everyone, what's the topic that we're going to be focusing on in your main interview next week?
Yeah, we're going to walk through 10 steps in creating a successful marketing campaign to gain new members.
This is such an important topic. So I'm really excited about having you on the show next week. And thank you so much for joining us today for the Precore Quickfire 5. Before we finish off today, a reminder that all the resources, the links, and a transcript for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you so much to our founding partner, Active Management. They have an amazing gift for you all. Their #1 selling checklist is yours for free. It'll turn your About Us page on your website into a lead generating page. Go along to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active for your free download. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of the show. I'll see you next week. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.